Right then guys and girlies, we are in 1920 by 1080 mode. We are in Crysis in DX9 with the normal original texture pack, so we can only go up to extreme settings for the textures. Just in case you're wondering, yes, we have got the monitor in a very strange position, but that's so you're not getting too much glare at the moment. Mr. Strawberry's playing. If you have a look at the frames per second, it's flicking around between kind of, it's on 100 at the moment, but the lowest we've seen really is about 95. But anyway, we're going to have a few minutes of Mr. Strawberry playing this, and then we're going to flick over to the DX11 and the Ultra pack to turn everything up to maximum, and then watch the frames per second again. But for now, we'll get on with watching this. See if you can hear me eating any crisps in the background. No. Nom nom nom. Well then guys and girls, what we're going to do now is get this into DX11 mode in ultra settings and turn everything up to the absolute max and see if it makes any difference to the frames per second. Right then guys, we've got everything turned up now. As you can see, we're seeing frames per second down in the 40s. That's 44 there. Before that would have been around the 90s, so 30-40 frames per second loss. Say 30 to be conservative.
Processing alien tissue. Assimilating biocode. Assimilation complete. Rewriting deep layer protocols. Stand by.
Prophet? I don't know what you did back there, but the suit signal's going crazy. It's off the chart. I've got interface protocols rolling up on all the lab systems, and a bunch of biotech patent documentation with Hargreaves' name all over it. It's like some kind of contingency routine he's built into the suit's deep layers. I've got no idea what this means. Look, take the FDR. Get up here to the lab. I don't know how much longer I can hold on here. You need to make it fast. Listen, Cell have set up checkpoints all along the FDR freeway. I just tapped into their comms, and it sounds like Lockhart's down here overseeing the operation himself. He's got to be close, Prophet. Keep a low profile.
Deliver xenotissue samples to Gould. Find a way onto the FDR freeway.
Hargreaves wants the suit. That's what he'll get.
He's gonna like it. And last time I checked, we both...
That's where you're wrong, Miss Strickland. You work for him. I answer to the Cell Executive Board on the DOD. I don't give a shit what some senile old shareholder like Hargreaves may or may not like.
That's the majority shareholder and former president of the Crynet board. You want to be careful what enemies you make your Lockhart.
This conversation is over.
Tactical options available.
Now we wait here until Lockhart tells us otherwise.
Yeah, the 280 ship special advisor Tara Strickland tells us what to do.
I don't take orders from that bitch, man.
Oh no? Seems like Lockhart does.
The hell he does.
All clear over here.
Flow engaged.
Oh! We have a man now!
Seeing that's 25 frames a second that went down to then.
Nothing out there.
And now we're back up to 80.
Rampage, I'm picking up a lot of cell activity around here. If they find a lab, we're both screwed. You gotta speed it up, man. follow the FDR until you reach the Harbor Lights Pier.
Get more.
Right then guys, we'll call that it for DirectX 11 Ultra for now, and yes, stay tuned for more. Right then guys, 590 installed in what can only be described as probably one of the most ghetto raw setups ever. Basically all I've done on the Rampage 3, if you look, is all the buttons are to the left at the bottom, but the very top one is to the right, meaning I've disabled the 6990. All the rest of the slots are now live, so obviously that allows the 590, which is in the second 16 times lane slot, to be used as the main graphics card. But just to make you laugh, look at that for water cooling. Oh yeah. Basically all I've done is, rather than taking the whole loop apart, which would have pretty much rendered the, I wouldn't have had time to have done it, basically I'm using the SwiftTech all-in-one that I've done before. But just so that you know, I'll turn this on now. Remember that system's not on at the moment, but if I turn this on, because I've got it off of a slave power supply on the floor, it's not quiet. That's with the fans turned down, the pump's really quite loud. But I've just done it just so that we've still got it on water cooling. It's got its own 360 rad there basically. But yeah, I'm not too sure about the green and the red together, but again, this is just for the test. So now what we're going to do is do 24-inch, and then we'll do DX11 versus DX9. So we'll be doing 9 in the original settings and 11 in the ultra settings on Crysis 2. And it's also technically a 590 versus 6990 review as well. So I've got a fair bit to do with this less than professional looking setup, but hey, it's working. But yeah, I just thought I'd give you a chuckle and see what we've had to do so we can get this running. Right then guys, continuing on, as you can see I've got the monitor in a really weird place again, just so that we don't get the glare for you. But we are in with the GTX590, obviously water cooled, and we're in DX9 mode without the high texture packs and everything like that. And as you can see, the frames per second are comfortably around 100 frames a second. But we'll play this for a couple of minutes, and then what I'm going to do is get Mr. Strawberry to turn everything up to maximum, stick DX11 on, stick the high texture pack on, everything else, and then we'll see what the frames per second are like then. But anyway, I'm going to leave you to watch Mr. S playing the game for a little bit, so you can keep an eye on the frames per second up the top here. It currently says, well, it's now at 89.90. But yeah, keep an eye, and I'll let you watch him play. Right then guys, as you can see it's pretty much not gone below 80 at all. 90 to 100 has been the average. But now it's time for us to get everything wanged up and get this game maxed out and see what it really does to the best that Nvidia's got to offer us at the moment.
Checkpoint up ahead. You're gonna have to break through.
Right then guys, we've got everything maxed out now. High texture pack, everything's on ultra, DirectX 11, resolution, as you know with all of these, is 1920 by 1080, single 24-inch screen, and as you can see the frames per second have now dropped significantly. We're now down to mid 50s, 60s.
Tactical options available. Engaged.
One thing I will say guys is the frames per second with the GTX590 are much healthier than the 6990. Something I'm also noticing is that the average frames per second is staying a lot higher, but we're also getting a lot less micro stutter. With the 6990 we were getting frames per second going down into the 20s and 30s. The worst I've seen with this has been once where we saw 49. But the frames are staying a lot healthier with the 590. Did see in the 40s briefly then.
All units, Prophet is heading north from checkpoint Echo 9.
roadblocks every half mile. A 0-1, you are clear to engage.
Prophet, they've set up roadblocks. You gotta break them up, man.
Try and shoot the helicopter. Shouldn't really say that out loud in video, but never mind.
Got him.
You never got it last time.
Missile away.
Master, you are in direct contravention of orders at the highest level.
This is all units. You will disregard any further orders. Special advisor started. Supervisor started by you. There was someone count 10.
Roger that. We're on it.
Helicopter, get it!
Where is it?
He's breached the roadblock. Repeat, Prophet has breached the roadblock.
He's on foot. Repeat, Prophet is on foot. FDR Drive, Sector East. Bring him down.
Gets too far away, isn't it?
There we go.
Target has left the vehicle. Repeat, he has left the vehicle.
Anyway, guys, as you can see there, the significant drop in frames per second, but we need to get that all wrapped up in the conclusion, really. I think I may leave Mr. Strawberry to play this for a little bit longer though, because he gets a bit aggressive if I try and stop him midway through a mission. Right then, guys, end of the DirectX 9 versus DirectX 11 with both the 6990 and the GTX 590. Now, as we could see with both cards, they were hitting around 100 frames per second with it in DX9 mode and with like the original texture pack. But then when we ramped it up to DX11 with the ultra texture pack and everything like that, that was really where we started to see a bit of a separation, because the 6990 was a fair bit lower, but also it fluctuated a lot more as well. Now, one thing I will say from the start, because everyone's going to say it, is yeah, Nvidia did have a hand in the DX11 patch and everything like that. So and the 590 was pretty much the card that the game was designed for. So it's not a massive surprise that it does run that bit better. Like I said, with the 6990 we were getting dips down into the 20s at the time. There was a significant amount of fluctuation. 30 was pretty much, you know, we were used to seeing 30. But there's something with the 590, so the Nvidia card, as I noticed, was we were getting peaks up to around 80 frames per second, but it actually, throughout most of the action points, it was staying around sort of 50, 60 frames a second. Bearing in mind this is with Crysis 2 completely maxed out on a single screen. Now, one of the things, I did try the 6990 with 3 screens, and the reason why it's not in the video is because, to be perfectly honest with you, it became pretty much unplayable. Like, it was terrible. It was very, very similar with the GTX590 as well. You couldn't really run it with 3 screens completely maxed out. You would need to turn the settings down a bit to be able to make it playable. So I decided not to put it in the video, because then I'd have to have done turned all the settings down, found the best settings for it to run to get about 30 frames a second, and we would have been comparing, what settings the 6990 needed compared to what settings the GTX 590 needed. So I didn't really think it was a viable thing. But at the end of the day, roughly, you were looking at 30 to 40 frames per second drop with the 590, and around kind of like 40 or 50 with the 6990. But as I said, with the 6990, it fluctuated a lot more as well. Now, one thing I will explain, and this is like one of my little rants, I'm actually happier now that we've got this Ultra pack and the DX11 patch for Crysis, because, to kind of explain, I was a little bit worried that it was too easy for the cards to play, because we need games that will absolutely test the card to its limit, so it's like running at 100% the whole time that the game's being played. Because without these games, like the original Crysis, which brought every graphics cards to its knees, without these games, then the graphics card industry really don't have the the need to keep pushing the technology and investing money so that they've got the card that will play that game. I mean, look back in the days when the 295 was originally released. The 295 was pretty much off the cuff of the just sheer lunacy of the demands from the original Crysis game. And although I think the Crysis has been very, very cleverly marketed, they may not have had the DX11 ready at launch. That might be very fair, and it might also have been something to do with the fact that they wanted to tune it in for the 500 series cards. But let's look at this, take a step back and look at this the way it is now. Everyone runs out and buys Crysis 2 because pretty much most cards can play it. Most cards can almost run it at max with a minimum of 40 frames per second as well. So you've got everyone's like, oh wow, this game looks good, everyone's playing it, lovely jubbly. A few months down the line, everyone's loving Crysis 2, they release these patches, they think they can now turn it up again, and all of a sudden their system isn't playing it. So if your system isn't playing it, and you've got a spare few quid, you might be thinking to yourself, maybe I need an upgrade. Now that's immensely clever when you think about it in that way. They get everyone hooked. It's almost like, I suppose you could say, the only analogy I can think about it is in my head, is they're like game drug dealers. They get you hooked, they get you in there, brilliant, and then they do you know what I mean? They pretty much take all those lovely frames per second away from you, so then you have to spend more money to get them back. So that's the way I see it. But let's face it, like I said, we need games like this to be able to push the industry that little bit further, so that we will keep getting the newer, faster cards. And although they will always do it, you need games like this for them to take big leaps. So indeed, yes, I am now happy with, not happy with Crysis 2, but I'm happier it's slightly more demanding. Now, like I said, we need to kind of remember that this is, at the moment, the fastest NVIDIA card available, because obviously there's 2 cores on it, and it is quicker than the 580. But yeah, it's still, when you think about it, it's still a big deal. If you put a 560 and had it all maxed out, it probably wouldn't, well, we wouldn't be getting anywhere near these frames per second. And from now on, I am going to be running my benchmarks in the DX11 mode. I may do DX9 versus DX11 for a little bit, just to see the difference. But indeed, yeah, it does make my life a little bit more difficult from a tester's point of view, but at the same time it's good as well, so we'll be able to see like the difference between the old game and the new game. But anyway, there you have it. You've been able to see the best that the AMD have got to offer against the best that Nvidia have got to offer in both DX9 and DX11 for comparisons. Yeah, the Nvidia pulled in front. Now I can kind of explain why. It's because the Nvidia drivers at launch weren't brilliant, because they've not changed anything else apart from the drivers, and now the 590 has pulled in front of the 6990. And that's still without, I mean, not really overclocked the 590 very much. It's only up to 860 on the core, yet we were running the 6990, it was 880 stock, and we were running it at 950. Now a lot of you do get confused and think that because the 6990 is technically running its core faster than it should be. What you need to bear in mind is these aren't exactly the same chips. You could technically have this 6990 running 3000 megahertz, and if it's a different architecture, the Nvidia could be running 100 megahertz and still be quicker. It's just the way, you know, how they differ. So never think just because your core's running quicker means that it's quicker than another card. Unless they are exactly the same cores, you can't really compare them in that way, which is why we use benchmarks and just don't talk about overclocking and overclocking speeds. So hopefully that will kind of figure that out, because when you think about it, the Nvidia core is running at a slower speed, yet it's quicker than the faster running cores in the 6990, but that's just because of the different architectures on the two cards. But after my little ramble, I'm going to leave you with that, and I apologise for the very ghetto way that we had to put the 590 in, but it was the best kind of time effective way of me being able to do it, and it also means that I can get it out now a lot quicker. So yes, that's another part of the Shadow H2O build and reviews done and dusted. But for now, at least, this is Tiny Tom Logan with another video for you.